getting kids back in classes somehow, some way. Start from the beginning, start in the middle. I don't know. We're an easy match for Canadian and American universities because, again, we're accredited in Canada and the United States. So our students can take those, and Canada and the United States are recognized, not surprisingly, through their accrediting agencies by the Ukrainian government. So this is not a waste of time. It's not like just a feel-good charity thing. There are ways for our students to plug into from the beginning or the middle, who knows, into courses offered by Canadian and American professors and universities with their, seal of approval, as we say, and those credits can count towards these kids' diplomas. Quite frankly, we may need some financial support. There's no telling what kind of damage we're going to face, and we have to continue to provide high quality education for our students and their families, who is important to them too. So anyone in Canada, anyone in America that's in academe or cares about academe, wants to help. Not me, not the school and all that. I mean, the leadership of the school will take care of its faculty and staff, but anyone who wants to find some creative way, academically, financially, to help our students and their families recover from this devastating trauma, and the good will triumph over evil at some point. And when it does, everybody has to be ready to hit the ground running, focused on children, whether it's from pre-K all the way through a bachelor's degree. We got to all be prepared to do anything we can, contribute in any way we can to help these kids just immediately overcome this trauma, move forward, get back on track. So that's the message I want to bring to you is, let's of course focus on some way to end this barbarism. But I'm a businessman. I'm a university professor. I can't directly end the barbarism, but I can rededicate my life and to being ready, as I say, to hit the ground running, take care of these kids, get our academic programs up and running just as fast as we can, initially online, and then someday, God willing, in person, back in the center of Kyiv, which is, sadly, that's where our building is located, is right in the center of Kyiv. So that's the message. Think about the future, think about education, think about working with us in any creative way. You can provide Bill the website of the school, my personal email. I am officially on the board of the university, and so that's the purpose of our call. The government has shut down the entire educational sector. It will not open up officially until the government decides that's going to happen. And but that's opening in a physical way. There are things we can do to get our students' academic programs back on track just as soon as there's enough of a lull in the violence that we can reconstitute. We moved up our spring break. We're now on a 2-week break. We would like to start teaching online again, but realistically, we may have to wait, obviously, more time. And the longer we wait, the more devastating it is for the kids, psychologically, emotionally. The more obviously damaging these delays are to their educational programs and their educational future of the country. So, we are going to we're marshaling resources now, through our partnerships of different universities. We're reaching out to anyone who cares about Ukraine, Ukrainian young people who will be the future, and we're talking middle class kids, not the children of elites. They're in London. we're talking about the future of Ukraine, the Ukrainian middle class. And for people who care about these kids, who care about education, if you want to work with us, that's just great. You know, we work with some of the best universities in the world: University of Minnesota, Rutgers University, Johns Hopkins University. But you know, we're going to need individual professors if they're willing, universities if they're willing to step in with you know, some pro bono support. Hopefully, you know, it's going to have to be to help, you know, augment the faculty that we may lose in the war. Some of our faculty are fighting in the war right now, all men between 18 and 60. You know, we have faculty scattered, again, from bomb shelters in Kyiv to, you know, apartments in Poland. And, you know, we know how to run a university. And as soon as we are able to get our faculty and staff reconstituted in an efficient, functional way, online exclusively, and we're able to reach out in any way to our students, hopefully all of them, at least some of them, then we can start getting these kids back on track with their education. But to do that, you know, we're going to need support that we, you know, from our partners or from anybody in Canada who cares about education. That's just the fact. We're going to need some additional human and financial resources on the teaching side in order to, you know, catch up for lost time and help these kids go forward. Any you know, actual academic contributions, that's all done online. It can be as simple as allowing our students who are able through us to register for free with some courses, some not 10 years, but you know, a few courses.
Say the website.
Well, okay, the website. Well, let me give you an important preface. We were, of course, in all of our strategic planning, I guess we forgot to include a barbaric Russian invasion, and so we don't have a website set up where someone can just go online and donate money. We live by our own means. We're not subsidized by anybody. This is very important, by the way. I've got to just come right out and say this, and then we'll give context. And we've been around 25 years. We're owned and controlled by people, Ukrainians. I mean, I'm the only American who've dedicated their lives to education. We're not owned and controlled by oligarchs or wannabe oligarchs, whether they live in Ukraine or they live in America. We're not owned or controlled by, you know, some current or former politicians who, you know, want to use the school to promote their political agendas and influence, and, you know, or some oligarch likes to have a school to polish his image. We're Ukrainian owned, Ukrainian managed. You know, 80% of our students are Ukrainians. We used to get students from 50 countries, but that's become difficult. So, you know, we're the real thing. I mean, we're the real thing, okay? We're accredited and we're nonprofit. And, you know, we have the initial German accreditation to prove that we're as ethically excellent as we are academically excellent. And that's really important. So, you know, taking care of our students, you know, this is a good thing, okay? And that may be a little impolitic for people who, I don't know, love oligarchs and politicians, but that's not who we are, okay? We're just education. Now, the website, Bill, which you could probably write on the bad video here, it is the website's Concordia. Well, here, actually.
That's okay. Just say the URL. I'll post it on later.
Okay. Well, let me just send it to you, and you can just post it. I'll give you the website. I'm going to actually give you two addresses, the vice rector and me, that people can contact directly, and then we'll figure out, you know, gosh, what would you like to help with, and how can we do that? Okay, and then I'll give the website so people can go and see all of our accreditations and so forth. Because again, this is all new, and we didn't think gosh, how can we reach out to Canadian academe in the event of a Russian invasion? So I'm making this up as I go. Right now, the financial sector in Ukraine isn't functioning very well. So yes, the university has an account, and the account is nonprofit, and it's tax deductible for any individual or entity in a country that allows tax deduction. But those details can be arranged. If some person or some institution contacts me, contacts the vice rector, whose email I can also give you, we'll find, trust me, we'll find a way to very, happily accept any kind of help they want to provide, teaching classes or providing access to university classes that we could put on our students' transcripts that would count towards graduation. So that way, even if the Ukrainian system is not working very well, they can take some classes from some American schools, and we're legally allowed by the Ukrainian Ministry of Education to accept those credits because we're in turn U.S. and Canadian accredited, and all of our accreditation agencies are recognized. So it can be a really simple thing. None of us have ever gone around like others and say, "Oh, give us money, give us money, give us money." No. Someone can sponsor students. If they wanted to give us money to help our students directly, we can figure out a way to collect the money and set it up in a transparent fashion so the money can be used for whatever people want it to do. Unfortunately, I can't just give you a site that says go donate here because, we haven't asked for donations. And so we want help more than anything. Okay. If our students can register for classes that we know we can accept credit-wise on our transcripts, and they can go for free and take one class or two classes, at so many great Canadian and American universities, well, that will just help enormous. That'll help enormous. First of all in-person teaching is, of course, canceled. And
like right across the country.
Everywhere in the country. The whole country is being attacked. So there's just no education in this country. So add that to your list of human tragedies, because no education affects children. And but I don't believe any schools, accredited by the Ukrainian government like us, schools are doing any kind of online teaching. I think everything's just closed, theoretically for 2 weeks, but come on. Come on. It's not going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 or 3 months or God knows how long. That's why now is the time to start thinking about something that, okay, my bad. I didn't think about this as a special advisor to the rector. I forgot to advise him on various scenario plans I'd done about barbaric Russian invasions. So again, we're making it up as we go. The Ministry of Education, you can't do anything. I mean, they can't. There's really nothing they can do except try to maintain records and order, so that when the schools get up and running, when the government says, okay, we're allowing schools to get up and running, but there's really nothing they can do. I mean, I wish every one of those dedicated professionals, I'm sure, wishes they could do something. But the very first thing we have to do when we're fully able is to engage the kids psychologically and emotionally. They're going to be traumatized. You cannot learn if your brain is traumatized. So we have to reach out to them with psychological, emotional support, maybe some financial support. We don't want kids that have to drop out because something horrible happened, to them in a family way or a financial way, or right. So we, people are dying over here. The Russians are blowing up buildings like we were Syria. And so we don't want any of our students to suddenly, lose a family member or suffer some really terrible financial economic problem and then have to drop out of school because they can't afford to pay even our tuition. Our tuition is low because we keep it low so we can reach Ukrainian middle class families. So, financial aid that can be directed directly to our students who are truly in need, that would be wonderful. And we can figure out with people who are interested, how to do that, how to do it in an absolutely open, transparent, auditable way. And so again, if there's an interest from people, interest from institutions, institutional support is so simple. Yes, we will allow X number of your students to enroll in our business or economics classes. The ones, for example, we're going to offer in the summer, okay? Or, they're obviously online. Everything's online. So whenever they have online courses, they can just offer X number of, free spots for our students who are already taking U.S. Canadian accredited courses, right? So, and they could make a simple offer like that, and it would help our students and their family enormously. So, and that's what it's all about. We have to focus on how do we help these students, how do we help these families, and that immediately exceeds our financial capabilities, right? So that's why we need help with some additional teaching resources and maybe financial resources for some of our families and students, But again, anybody just, contact me at my personal email and we'll figure out how to do it and how to do it right for the benefit of these kids, their families, this country. We need to get every school back open again, at least online, and maybe in some parts of the country that remain safe and under government control, get them back in person. But that's number one. Somehow, some way, doesn't matter how, online, offline, courses in Ukraine, courses in America or Canada, we got to get the students back studying. And the ministry's role in that is, they're the ones that sort of decide, for the whole country and all levels of education, when sort of does that officially start? But we're a private university, and as a private university, we have much greater leeway, and our students could right now enroll in online classes from the beginning at any Canadian university, as long as that course is pedagogically similar to the courses in our programs, which the vast majority will be for bachelor's degree students, right? Basic finance and statistics and math and microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, those kinds of courses, we're a perfect sort of match in terms of accreditation and crediting. So we can do that. Obviously, the Ministry of Education, which we all hope will be itself back online, because the Ukrainian government will survive, because Ukraine will survive. Okay, being a Russian slave state is not a very attractive option. And so if we assume that good triumphs over evil and Ukraine gets back on the track, so to speak, obviously the Ministry of Education needs to improve its own performance, raise its own standards, help improve the standards of so many of the state schools at the university level. This is quite normal, and they were, okay. Everything in Ukraine, I've been here since 1994. doing various businesses, teaching, and etc. And you almost everything in Ukraine has gotten demonstrably better, sometimes almost miraculously better than it was 30 years ago. And is there a long way to go? Yes. Okay. But, every country has its problems. Canada, U.S., some could argue that Ukraine has a better functioning democracy than the United States, quite frankly. So, so Ukraine is a real country. It's a serious country. It's a wealthy country. And it was, and I hope can stay on a path to joining the EU and the ranks of quite frankly important nations. Okay. And to do that, it has to continue this long, arduous path of reforming everything, because it's really, really, really hard in just 30 years to go from a totalitarian state, okay, and all the governmental entities that supported that thick regime, and then suddenly overnight, it's like, well, we're going to be Denmark. Well, someday Ukraine will be, an excellent country. I could throw in 10 other European countries, right? But it all takes time, and everything was moving forward, quite frankly, especially under the Zelensky and Poroshenko administration. That's when everything started to improve really radically, starting with Poroshenko and continuing through Zelensky. Because, as everybody knows, thanks to Putin and Yanukovych, we hit bottom then too. So, look, good will triumph over evil. Ukraine will get back moving towards its future. Things will continue to get better. But things are only going to get better if we take care of people. And right now we have to take care of refugees. I mean, I'm personally helping any number of families personally that are now scattered in European countries. And so we have to help people in the short term, but then right now we need to be planning, what are we going to do in 3 months, 6 months? We can't let students, and again, I can't talk about all students at all levels in Ukraine. That wouldn't, you need to talk to the education minister about that. But I can talk about our students at our private, non-for-profit, English only teaching Canadian accredited university. And, we just have to start right now marshaling all the human and institutional and yes, financial resources we can, and aim them at our students and their families so that we can keep going forward with education. Because again, we're a private university. We can pretty much do anything we want as long as we meet our requirements, academic, moral requirements with our accreditation, like FIBA of Germany and CHIA of the United States and things like that. So, I just want to go forward. I want to get people and institutions who care about education focused on it, focused on these kids, and working with us in any way they think they can help, so we can go forward. That's all we can do, because we're educators. Nobody is safe. It's almost impossible to believe that the Russians are just indiscriminately bombing civilians all over this country. I mean, it's just, the barbarism. It's truly evil. So no, I'm not safe, but I do live south of the city. I'm on the southern suburbs, if you will, of the city, and the fighting is currently in the western and northern suburbs. But no, I'm not safe. But I'm safer than all of these people, including some of our faculty, staff, and students who live in the center of Kyiv, from student dormitories to their own apartments, and they're sheltering in basements and the metro. But look, Russia comes and takes over Kyiv, the cost in human life is going to be staggeringly high, and the destruction is going to be something that Kyiv hasn't seen since 1945, last time the Russians came through. So it's a horrific situation. I may be forced to leave. I've been helping other families leave. There are some people who would like to leave, who, older people, not you. By the way, there's not a single man in this country between 18 and 60. You couldn't drag them across the Polish border. I've never seen resistance, patriotism, and bravery like I'm seeing over here. It's truly inspiring. And but women and children and old people, and there's some older people here that I very likely in the next few days may need to take them and ferry them across the border. It's a long drive. Nothing's ever safe anymore. And, at some point, maybe I can't leave. But, we're all doing what we can. But again, my discussion with you is not about me. Nobody should worry about me. But any of your listeners who care about Ukrainian children, okay, university students, they're still children to me. I don't know, 18, 20, 22, seem like children to me. And anybody who really wants to help those children, their families, that's what I'm interested in. And if somebody called up and said, look, I want to provide financial support, pay tuition, or, sponsor other kids, or, help repair the hole in the roof of your building because the bastard Russians dropped a bomb on it. Sure, but again, I can't stress enough that we're literally kind of making this up as we go because we didn't plan on a barbaric invasion from Russia. So we don't have a red like emergency website where people can give money. Now we're not interested in thousands of people. If there's just a few people out there who can provide some financial support, we'll find a way to work transparently and perfectly. But the best would be teachers and universities to say, hey, we'll engage your kids pro bono. That's all, doesn't cost anything for a university to say, okay, we're going to start a new online course in Micro 101 in April, and we're going to let Concordia add 10 students. So what? 5 students. So what? Right? Doesn't cost anything. But that's the kind of help we're going to need because we're it's going to be really hard for us to simultaneously catch up and go forward, if you know what I mean. And we're going to get 100% of our human resources back. Some of our faculty will probably be killed, quite frankly. Quite frankly, killed. And, some of our faculty may be traumatized and just not ready to teach. And, so that's where we're short. We're not only short on human capital, we're short on sort of human Canadian soul. God damn it, Bill. You could, you're not recording me, but you could if you wanted to. We have millions of Ukrainian immigrants in Canada, which is the best thing that ever happened to Canada. And we need just a few of those millions of Ukrainian immigrants, especially the older ones and the really successful ones, to say, hey, I'm going to help these Ukrainian kids at their private, non-for-profit, Canadian accredited university. I'm going to help them. I'm going to help their families. I'm going to, I'll talk to Paul Thomas. I'll talk to Yulia Romanovska. I'll figure out some way to help. And that's all we need, because we're not going to be able to do it all by ourselves. Not a tragedy like